Hi, good evening. I'd like to bring to order the June 27, 2023 meeting of the Methacton Board of School Directors. Please rise for the pledge. The public is hereby advised of the audio and video recording of this meeting for the purposes of rebroadcasting. By way of executive session announcements, the board met in an executive session immediately prior to tonight's meeting here at Arcola Intermediate School for the purpose of discussing a matter involving the continued employment of an administrative employee of the district. By way of attendance, all board members are present except for Ms. Reese and Ms. Cleary, who are excused. Next is guest and scheduled speakers. Dr. Zerbe.
Thank you, Madam President. There are no guests and scheduled speakers this evening. I recommend that we move into the reports.
Okay. By way of reports, all reports from the committees are attached, and we do have the foundation here, Ms. Pergolini.
Sorry, wasn't quite ready. Real quick, we will be granting $106,000 for the spring grants this year, and the fall grant cycle will open soon, and we encourage all teachers and staff to apply. We're happy to announce that Liz Kamenetz is officially joined the MEF as a board of director. Liz is a resident, parent, and active community member, and we're excited to welcome her to our board. And lastly, we're working on the following fall events. A run back to school Methacton 5K Walker Run is tentatively scheduled for September 17th, and we hope to have registration open next week, and all proceeds will benefit the backpack program. The Welcome Back Warriors alumni event will take place on homecoming weekend. And then the Apex Awards is tentatively scheduled for November 17th, and nominations for community members, alumni, educators, and award winners will open soon. And for anyone that needs any information, they can just sign up for our newsletter at methactonfoundation.org.
Thank you, Ms. Pergolini, and I apologize. I did do the reports out of order, so I might have sprung that on you, but thank you for taking that. I will go backwards and do the North Montco Technical Career Center report. We met on Monday, June 19th. We had an executive session for Act 44, a safety update as required by law. We talked about the senior recognition that was held on May 31st, where 261 graduating seniors were recognized for their outstanding achievements. There was an announcement that the culinary arts instructor position has been filled by a former North Montco Tech student. There's a lot of progress on the current wait list. So that we should be ready to go by whittling down that wait list. We should be ready to go when school begins in August. Now we have communications. Miss Kelly's not here. I don't see her. Next, we'll go then right to the superintendent's report. Dr. Zerbe.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, there are some advisements as listed on the agenda. In addition to that, I just want to talk about three of the items that are on the agenda for your approval this evening. So this evening, the board will consider three items listed under facilities in section 13.d of the agenda. The vote on these matters, while important, are symbolic of a multiple month process similar to that which was done back in 2016 to better understand the facility needs across our district. The assets and conditions summary reports for each of the 9 facilities were provided to and reviewed by the administration and the board and provide information that we can now use to formulate a master facilities plan. I have confirmed that there are no immediate life safety matters, and as such, the board approval of these 3 items does not obligate the district to complete any of these matters listed in the reports or otherwise. Let me just repeat that. The acceptance does not obligate us to complete any of the matters listed in these reports. It does, however, provide the basis for consideration of which items and potentially when those items are to be considered for fixed replacement over the next 10 years. Like we have done in the past, if approved this evening, we will leverage a master facilities plan to organize our needs into projects for consideration by the board in the future. That ends my report.
Thank you, Dr. Zerbe. Now we will move right into public comment on board action items, an opportunity for residents to comment on matters that are to be decided upon as outlined on the agenda. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and we may choose to respond to matters following the conclusion of the comments on board action items.
Jim Mock, Worcester. I'm talking about item 13D. I disagree with Dr. Zerbe's spin. The public was not provided with the final version of the Veritas Facility Assessment Study that you're voting on tonight so that we could review it, evaluate it, and give public comment on it. Question is, why not? Why not give it to us? I don't think that the public understands the gravity of the vote tonight on item 13D. Through my right to know request, I found out there are no policies, procedures, guidelines, and/or protocols that require you to vote on or approve the Veritas assessment study. Why vote on acceptance of the Veritas study, and why authorize the superintendent to proceed with organizing a comprehensive facilities campus planning process for the Methacton High School campus? What I think you're voting on in 13D is what I would consider the initial approval to construct a new high school. And you're doing so without providing the public with the draft or final version of the facilities assessment study, which is problematic. It's also based on your dramatic increase in revenue that came in, $4 to $6 million. Got to spend it somehow. Otherwise, you're going to have to lower our tax rate. Well, what better way than a new $130 million high school? I've been denied access to the studies, but finally got one from the Boston School District. According to that draft study that I saw, it says number 4, the purpose. Bureau Veritas was retained by the client to render an opinion as to the property's current general physical condition on the day of the site visit. Per the dictionary, opinions defined as a view or judgment formed about something not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. Biased report. Their opinions, as stated, were based on observations, interviews, and document reviews. Again, basically subjective. You cannot move forward with item 13D for multiple reasons. All of this is subjective, best guess, speculative information, and is used to generate a current facilities condition index, FCI, which is the ratio of the cost of current needs divided by the current replacement value of the facility. What they ended up doing is they also created a 3, 5, and 10-year FCI, but didn't do current needs. They did anticipated needs over current replacement value. By doing that, they skewed the entire FCI. It's inaccurate, and it's skewed towards building a new building. So for those reasons, and the fact that you didn't account for interest on whatever you're going to build, you can't go forward. If you do, I think we're going to have a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on board action items this evening? Right, seeing none, we'll move on with the agenda. We're going to vote on the board meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the May 17th, 2023 special meeting and work session and the May 23rd, 2023 regular meeting minutes as attached? Mr. Rookstool, may I have a second? Ms. Cancro? Any questions or comments from the board? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries, 7-0. Thank you. Next is fiscal items. Mr. Brooker.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight for your approval are 9 financial items with no changes from the work session.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to approve all fiscal items as presented? Mr. McGinnis. May I have a second? Mr. Rookstool. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All in favor? Any opposed? That carries 7-0. Thank you. Personnel, Dr. Sordini.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening. For your consideration this month, we have the personnel items as presented last week at the work session with the following additions. One resignation professional, Molly Dale, Spanish instructor at Arcola. We thank Molly for her service this year, and we wish her well. Two employments professional, Sarah Markley, special education instructor at the high school, and Emily Leddington, special education instructor at Arrowhead. We welcome Sarah and Emily, and we look forward to the good work that they will do. One employment classified, Jack Consiglio, student summer worker and maintenance. We welcome Jack. One change of status classified, Tom Smink, from grounds person to grounds crew foreperson. We thank Tom for taking on this leadership role. We have an additional supplemental contract for summer IEP writing and the addition of Nicole Ayers to the custodial classified substitute list. We welcome Nicole. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sorgini. May I have a motion to approve all personnel items as presented? Ms. Graff, may I have a second? Ms. Cancro, thank you. Any questions or comments on personnel?
I just had a question on how we were looking with the fall coaches.
We're doing quite well. We have a couple openings and we are looking to fill those, but we're doing very well with the fall coaches.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Winters?
On the professional resignation, can you provide some insight on what if they're moving to another district or
Out of
moving
state.
moving out of state? Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Carry 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have curriculum and programs. Dr. Walsh.
Thank you, Madam President. Approve the following revised curriculum for the 23-24 school year, and there are no changes from last week's work session. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve all items under curriculum and programs as presented? Ms. Purdue, may I have a second? Mr. McGinnis? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? That carries 7-0. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Walsh. Next is policy. Dr. Zerby.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening for your approval on 12B are the second reading items as listed. No changes from the work session.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve all policies listed for second read as noted? Ms. Purdue, may I have a second? Mr. Rookstool, thank you. Any questions or comments for items under policy? All in favor? Any opposed? 7-0. Thank you very much. Now we're on to other. Dr. Zerby.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, they're under other for gifts and donations, trips, transportation, facilities, and summer hiring authorization. Those are the items as listed on the work session with no changes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to make a note that Mr. Winters will abstain from the vote of other for trips. So we're going to take this, I'm going to do, can I get a motion for?
You can exclude just 13B2. If you take 13B2 separately. that's
Just,
fine.
right.
Okay.
So we'll exclude 13B2 separately. So can I have a motion to approve all items under other except for 13B2? Mr. McGinnis? And can I have a second, Ms. Graff? Thank you. Any questions or comments about those items listed under other except for 13B2? Seeing none. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's 7-0. And now may I have a motion to approve 13B2 under trips? Mr. Rookstool? And a second, Mr. McGinnis? Any questions or comments under for 13B2? Mr. Winters?
Excuse me, this written memorandum is being submitted to the district in accordance with section 1103J of the PA Public Official and Ethics Act. At the public meeting that is being held today, it is my intention to abstain from the vote on the agenda 13B2, which involves the approval of a high school trip to participate in the team's national competition in Louisville, Kentucky this weekend, June 29th through the July 2nd, due to conflict of interest under the Ethics Act. The nature of interest is as follows. My wife will be, as an instructional aide for the high school, will participate as a chaperone. In addition, my son will be one of the 4 students participating. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments on that? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Thank you, 601. All right, now we have dates for board members' calendars. We will not be having a work session in July. The next meeting will be July 25th, regular board meeting, and we have our 2 meetings in August there as presented. Do we have anyone for old or new business this evening? All right, seeing none. It's time for courtesy of the floor, an opportunity for residents to make comments on matters that are or may be before the board. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. We may choose to respond to matters following the conclusion of the comments.
Jim Malik, Worcester again. Got to correct some misinformation provided to the public at the last meeting. Dr. Zerbe had made a mention that the FCI is referenced to by a member of the public is not an arbitrary number. It's a mathematical formula and it's an industry standard. Wrong. Wrong, Dave. It is arbitrary. The only industry standard is not the FCI. It's actually the ranges that they put down. The ranges are what's the standard, but the FCI itself is totally arbitrary. I enjoyed your analogy to the car, buying $1,000 car and then having to put $5,000 into it. Maybe it's not a good idea. Well, I think it's a good idea as opposed to paying 40 grand for a new car. So if you can get a car for $1,000, put 5,000 into it and it runs great, then you're saving 40K. So you don't understand that. You basically are going right to the Lamborghini because circumstances allow you to go to the Lamborghini. You got too much money. So I thought your car analogy was dead on for why we're in the pickle we're in. You got to start thinking like the $1,000 car purchase with the $5,000 redo rather than going right to a Lamborghini. I think that's where, seriously, I think that's where your problem is. And then maybe lower taxes, you won't get so much money. Also, I was kind of shocked. Ms. Drummond stated that the M&M study showed a decline in enrollment. I was here for like a year and a half, and you guys only kept talking about was the increased enrollment from your pipeline study. And she somehow doesn't know. Even more shocking to me, Dave, was you saying that the enrollment basically rose slowly, a slight increase, and then leveled off. See this? That's the pipeline enrollment. It didn't like rise slowly and level off. Basically, in 2017, your K-4 enrollment was 1678, and 10 years later, it's at 1870. Where does it level off? Can you tell me where it levels off? Goes up by 200. How's that a slight increase and levels off? What I'm looking for from you guys is the truth. I'm not looking for the spin. And believe me, when I heard, this is the most shocking thing to me. You guys can't admit that you had a M&M study that showed your enrollment was going through the roof? Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for courtesy of the floor this evening? All right. Any comments from board members to wrap up? All right. May I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. McGinnis, may I have a second? Ms. Graff? Thank you very much for coming out. This meeting is adjourned.